So the next step we want to do is tie in the Peep Sight, and to do that, to get the exact location where that Peep Sight needs to go, I'm going to draw the bow back. I'm going to anchor in really natural and just kind of relax with it, and then I'm going to have somebody come in with a marker and just mark exactly where my eye is lining up with that string. So pull the bow off of the press here and put my release on. All right, let's go ahead and come in and mark that. It actually looks like right about where the string is. Maybe just a touch lower than that. Yeah, right there. Perfect. All right. All right, now with the string marked for the peep location, I'm going to put the bow in an actual press and relieve some of the tension on the string. And as I relieve that tension, it's going to allow me to separate the strands of the string and be able to insert the peep there. So we'll put it in a press, we'll relieve the pressure on the string, get the peep inserted, and then I'll show you how I serve in the Peep Sight. All right, so we've got the bow in the press. I'm just going to tighten it down so we relieve the pressure on the string here, and that's going to allow us to split the strands on the string to get the Peep Sight inserted. And we've got our marks right there. So with that string in there, it's really easy. I can just pull apart the strands and insert our new Peep Sight. Get it right in there. And it's got little grooves on the side that just align with the string. So pull that out now. Just make sure we're on target for where we marked, which is right about there. All right, so we've got the peep set at the location that we've determined it needs to be at. Now we just need to serve it into place. And to do that, we're just going to use some small diameter serving string, and we're going to tie it below. We're going to wrap around one side, we're going to wrap around the peep, we're going to come out and go up another side of the string, and then tie it off at the top. And that's just going to keep that peep from doing that, sliding back and forth. We're going to basically tie it into position. All right, with the Peep Sight inserted in the string, I'm going to back the press off a little and get some more tension on that string, just to keep it a little tighter. Right about there. And that's going to help. It's still going to set in the press, but it's going to help me as I start serving the string in. So I'm just going to take some serving string, and for a peep, if I get 24, 28 inches, somewhere in there, that's going to be way more than what I need, but it's going to give me some good ends to work with. I'm going to want to melt the end of it again here. All right, and then to get started, I'm going to start on the bottom of the peep. So I just come up through the string, and if I bring, inch and a half or so up, I just want to come through the strands and kind of pull down till it's snug. And that's going to put me about an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter below the peep on the string. And then what I'm going to do is just make one wrap between the peep and the tail that I have here of the string. And then I'm going to lay that tail down on the side of the string that I'm going to actually wrap up when I come. So now I've got that in place. All I'm going to do is just start pulling this tight and walking my way up the string as I wrap it around the string. And you can go a 1/4 inch or so on the length of the serving, as far as from the bottom of it to where you stop. I like to go just a little farther, and probably more in lines with 3/8 of an inch, not quite a 1/2 inch, just to make sure I'm not getting any serving slipping or anything. So now everything's kind of held in place. I've got the tail of the string running up there, and I'm basically serving over the top of it so it won't come undone on itself there. And I haven't counted the wraps, but I'm guessing we're probably going to end up with around 20 wraps or so on the bottom end. Again, if I'm wanting to come up this side, I want to keep that tail over there. And I am probably pretty good right there. Just want to make sure I'm on my mark where that peep goes. Right about there. All right, now I take the tail and just lay it on one side of the string. All I'm going to do is just wrap the serving loosely, not loosely, but it doesn't need to be tightly woven like this. I'm just going to go with probably a 1/16 of an inch gap between each one, so I'll probably get 6 or 7 wraps on that. And I'm just going to bring the loose end, come down through. Keep that tail on the outside there. Probably got a little bit more than what I needed here, but more is always better than less. All right, so I've got my loops there. Now what I want to do is basically go right around the peep sight. You'll notice there's groove there in it. Just want to wrap the peep sight, and I usually go around twice. There's my 2 wraps around the peep. Now if I come over on this side, I want to come below the peep. Come through my little window there. Pull that up tight. And now I'm just going to do the same thing, do 7 wraps on this side of the string. And then we get down here and we'll tighten that in place and our peep will be set. Six. We'll come over the top here. And now all we want to do is just snug that down really tight. We want to pull those together and then just start wrapping. Get a couple of them there, and then I'm going to pull that really tight. Okay, let's wrap 5 or 6 here. All right. So now we've got probably a little over 1/8 of an inch of serving there. We've got 3/8 here. So I'm going to get us probably another 6 or 8 wraps on this, and then I'll show you how to finish off the serving. All right. I'm gonna pull that tight, make sure it's good and snug. All right, so we've got good and snug there. Now we just want to finish off the serving. So I'm going to pinch the serving there so it doesn't slide. And you'll notice we're on the outside of the string here with the serving string. It's on this outside face. So I just want to make a loop and lay it over here. And what we're going to end up doing is tightening this around it. And as we tighten it, we're going to basically be undoing this end. So we want to bring the tail of the string, the tail of the serving string, over on the back side of the string and start wrapping it back into itself. So we've got our loop here, and we just want to make 8 or 10 wraps back here inside of that loop. So you can see what we're doing there. We've got our loop, and then we're basically wrapping back toward our serving. All right, so we will lay this tail across what we've already served. Now we've got our loop. Pull it down tight. Now all we're going to do is continue running the serving in the same direction. And as we tighten it down here, we're unwinding the loops we just created on the other end. Keep those good and tight. And now we're left with just a loop here. So if we pinch that and grab the tail and pull on it, it's going to tighten that serving up. And we basically just served back over the top of our tail. Good enough there. Now we can just snug that down. We'll cut that, melt the end of it, and we have a freshly tied in Peep Sight. All right, so we've got the D-loop tied, we've got our peep served in, and the last step to get the bow ready to shoot is tying in the rest cord or the rest cable. And for a fall-away rest, the way this works is you tie it into the string, into the cable on the bow here, and then as you draw the bow, this cable slides down and it pulls that cable and stands your rest up. And then when you shoot, your rest drops away. So what we need to do is tie this in a location, and I like to go about to the bottom of the grip. So if you come down the bottom of the grip, that's a pretty good location. You don't want to be up too high, don't want to be down too low. So I think right bottom of the grip's a good middle of the road area to tie that in. There's a couple different ways you can do this. You can do similar to the Peep Sight and put the bow in a press and split the cable. And when you split the cable, you can feed this through it and get everything set, figure out what the proper length is going to be, and then serve it in, similar to what we did up on the Peep. Just wrap the cable here with some serving string. I found that a simpler way to do it, and something that's just as effective, is to tie a loop, basically like we do on one end of our D-loop, and tie that around there, pull it good and snug, and then run the other end up through the rest. The HHA Virtus Rest comes with the rest cable already in it, but I like to start from the other end, so we're going to take that out. It's a really simple mechanism. It's just got a little clamp that clamps that cord in place, allows it to move through when it's loose. When you tighten it down, it's snug. So we're going to pull it out, and I've cut a shiny green piece of D-loop cord here that we're going to use, and just to make sure that that's going to fit through there. It will. I've melted this end of it so that it will feed through a little easier. So you can see what we've got there. So before we do that though, we're going to tie our loop. So the easiest way to do that again is just to double the cable or the cord over on itself. Makes you a loop end there. I want the short tail on the bottom. So I'm just going to run it through like that, short tail on the bottom. Pull those through the loop. And that's got me my loop there. Short tail on the bottom. Swing it around over here. Now this one's going to come up through the rest when we get it set. First thing I'm going to do though is tighten this loop, get it good and snug, and then I'm going to cut the short tail and melt it just to make sure it doesn't pull through on itself. You'll notice as I tighten this up, that short tail is going to come through a little bit until it snugs up on itself. Make sure you get those good and tight together. All right, and we are plenty tight there. So I'll cut the short tail here. Again, be very careful and make sure that you are not cutting toward your string on your bow. And when you heat this, you want to make sure your flame isn't going into the string, because if it hits the string, it's going to harden the string or the cable and make it more likely to fail on you in the future. So make sure everything that doesn't need melted is out of the way. That melting there. Get that good and flat so it doesn't pull through. Now we just want to really suck that down tight. All right, and that's not going anywhere on us. So now we're ready to take the opposite end, feed it through the rest. Let me stand this back up. That's going to allow this clamp to fall out. Feed the cable through. And we are in business. All right, what we're doing is just getting this snug, because once we draw the bow back, we'll be able to determine where we want it sitting. So basically the concept of the rest is inside here there are little teeth similar to on like a boat winch. It's got the little teeth and the little clicker that falls in there, and you tighten it to a certain point, and then the little tab goes in the teeth and prevents it from going forward. The rest is similar. So what you want is, as you're drawing your bow back, you want the rest to come to the full vertical position about 1/2 inch before you come all the way back in your draw cycle. So right before you hit the back end of the draw, the wall on the draw, you want that rest coming to full vertical. And so we'll just have to draw it a couple times and adjust the rest cord to find out where we need it exactly. So I'm going to leave it loose so it can slide in there. Then we'll just draw it real quick and get it close. All right, so I'm just going to draw the bow a couple times and get the rest cable close on the length that it needs to be. So you'll see it's pulling through there pretty good. I'm going to lengthen it out a little more. All right, so right there is back wall, full draw. And if I let up just a little now, the rest is going to go with me. So I'm going to shorten that just slightly. And that should get us really close. Tighten that down so it doesn't move. All right, now I drop the rest, and as I draw the bow back, we should see the rest stand up, come to full height right before I get to full draw. It's coming up. Right there, it's about full height, and I've got about a 1/2 inch of draw, right? I'm going to shorten that string just a little bit, just a touch more, and that's going to pull that rest up to the full vertical position right before I come to full draw. Shorten that just a 1/8 of an inch or so. Tighten it back down. Good and snug. We'll give it one last draw here. So yep, right about there. We came up to vertical. We have about a 1/2 inch of draw left, and we should be good to go. So we have successfully tied our D-loop, we've served in our Peep Sight, and we have tied in our rest cord to the bow cable, and we are ready now to start shooting the bow. So be sure and check out the next video in the series on setting up your bow. We're going to adjust the rest, both up and down, left and right, and we're going to shoot the bow through paper and get it paper tuned and ready to start sighting in. So check out that next video, and thanks for joining us on this one.